HR personnel of Reddit. What's the most unnecessary thing you've seen in a resume? Had a guy apply for a supervisor position. Listed the companies he worked for, but not the positions he held. And then the other half of the page was filled with personal records for different weightlifting exercises. I interviewed him because I felt like I had to interview someone that was willing to submit a resume like that. He spent most of the interview talking about how much time he spends at the gym. No matter what the question was, he was able to relate it to the gym. He didn't get the job. I had someone put YouTube links to their high school basketball highlights on their resume. Not seen by me personally, but by my boss. We received an application for a position. We could see past the typos as writing isn't exactly a large part of the job. But referring to his previous jobs as being boring and not paying enough to get out of bed for wasn't their brightest move. The real turnoff was signing it, "ready to work." Straight out of college and living in small town riddled with drug users. I seriously considered putting "consistently pass random drug screening" in my skills section. Manager friend told me that would actually be valuable. The candidate proudly listed that they had, presumably self-published a book of erotic poetry about a type of farm animal. They were applying for a professional office job that had absolutely nothing to do with poetry, or farm animals, or erotica, or bestiality. In case that needs saying. Not in HR. But had to hire a couple people in the past. One of the applicants included that he was on his high school's homecoming court on his resume. Obviously, I didn't hire him. Dude wasn't even king. One candidate wrote "The Lost Art of Letter Writing" as an additional qualification. Another submitted a hand-drawn comic book. It was quite entertaining and well done. I've gotten Jeopardy contestant and Wheel of Fortune winner before. Also had a guy write a whole paragraph about how strong his immune system is and that he never gets sick. This is in the US. And I understand some other countries and likely industries do it differently. But one of my professors said she just tosses out resumes that have pictures on it because the people have nothing relevant to the job and people are trying to get jobs based on their looks. I have read all the resumes that I got with pictures and that professor has been right so far. I don't trust that rule is to do it every time yet. But it's been right so far. Once got a resume where they put down stump removal with a chainsaw as a special skill. They were applying to be a cashier at a grocery store. Described themselves as a thought leader for anime. Two things. We had someone apply for a technical position who had a degree in spirit, nature, and value. We had a guy apply for a quality assurance position who included a link to his LinkedIn profile. I opened the profile and he had given himself the title of quality assurance at an old position. Hiring for university IT help desk. We got a resume that listed 18 pages of links from the internal university info pages. Like, links of Wi-Fi info, 18 pages. Just URLs. I don't even remember what was on the first couple pages. I just remember being baffled that this person thought URLs qualified as experience. I don't think they actually look at resumes. In the past for hobbies I put part-time ninja, and for other skills, pet psychiatrist. During one interview they were asking me about my skills and writing them on my resume beside the section that listed my skills. Once got a resume where they put excels at being serious in the skills section. That the person had run for a public office in a foreign country and listed that they were members of two separate political parties while running for said office. We took a flyer on her. Too soon? Not as bad as some of the ones here. But I once had a guy hand me a resume with smiley faces on it. Like the generic Microsoft version of slightly smiling face, they were typed right in next to his previous experience. Like, cashier at Walmart, slightly smiling face. It has been many years since I worked in HR. But I do remember a resume that was 30 pages long. For a stay-at-home mother applying for her first job. It was very odd and mostly incoherent. Not in HR, but I've been starting to compile my resume after 20 years at the same job and thought about just attaching 20 years of employee yearly reviews I had, and then the last page would be a picture of a microphone on the ground. Definitely a horrible idea, but I think someone would get a kick out of it. I really don't want to work anymore, so I might just do it. Military spouse. Like that's some kind of qualification. The application for a competitive internship. Under experience, he just wrote, hoping to get that from you. Not HR. But was on a team where they let all of us look at the resumes for people who were going to be interviewed. As one of us sat in on them all. One person literally quoted themselves. Like they said something that sounded somewhat profound. And literally quoted themselves. My old fire chief used to throw every other application in the trash because he didn't want to hire unlucky people. My GF got a recent resume that listed proficient in Zoom as a skill. I got a kick out of that. Not HR. But I look at resumes. The cover letter that tries to be cute. Stop with that shit. On another note, I hope to God I never have to look for work again. I was helping my boss go through applications and saw on one, attended summer camp 5 summers in a row. It confused the hell out of me since we were a coffee shop and she didn't tie in any skills. From summer camp. Did she make coffee at summer camp? Did she work on customer skills? What did summer camp have to do with the job she was applying for? Not HR. But had a client that, in the required education section of an application, listed her own self-published program as where she was educated. This was in order to qualify to be recognized as the academic officer for her own institution, where she is the only instructor. Self-taught doesn't satisfy the requirement. Ma'am. Their social security number. For their sake. No. Just no. ETA. I'm not an HR professional. I was the hiring manager for the position. While sorting through resumes when opening a new restaurant, we got one that stated that the applicant was bilingual and could speak English and Ebonics. A friend once came across a pretty bizarre resume. The only thing I remember is the guy aspired to be manager of Broadway. We're not in the U.S. And the job had absolutely nothing to do with Broadway or performance of any kind. Highlights from my favorite resume ever. We were hiring a receptionist to answer the phone for a party rental company. Networked and partied with celebrities. Handle my alcohol well. Ability to stand any resume with a headshot photo. I don't work for a modeling agency. I don't care what you look like. 100% Microsoft Office. They didn't get the internship. I actually had someone pull an Elle Woods and spray perfume on their resume. It did not get them an interview or into law school. Lol. I used to put my IQ on my CV when I first entered the world of work because a teacher once told me it would make me stand out. So cringe. Looking back, I think he might have been pulling my leg, but he was kinda right. My friend had one where he was hiring for an IT job. And once he was with this historian. And he had a resume that was with all his accomplishments. This is normal. But in the end, he had stole 12 consecutive ham sandwiches from a coworker. The one that stands out for me is the one that made it stand out. It was sensory overload. All these bright-colored text boxes. Different fonts. It was so frickin' hard to read. Keep it simple and professional, and I don't care if your star sign says you are right for the job. Well-known town. Well-known journalist for the Anchor newspaper. Still there after 20-plus years, listed his junior year abroad in Europe on his resume. Guy is past 50. I wonder if he forgot it's there. I know someone who listed juggling as a skill and was adamant it stayed in there. I'm not HR, but I was the hiring manager for the position. The applicant's resume had a full-page watermark of Gandalf on Shadowfax. White Horse. From Lord of the Rings. Apparently, he applied for every technical position we had, as a lot of other hiring managers had seen the same. Resume. Awards. Best Girl Scout, not written on the resume, but I sometimes get resumes via email with unedited. Or maybe intentional? File names like plshireme.doc or final resume.doc, lol. I received a CV where the applicant's greatest accomplishment was, I painted a house once. He was applying for a retail position. My sister was hiring a waiter for her restaurant and had a resume that listed, received certification to handle hand grenades, listed under special skills. The guy also had no military experience. Just grenades, I guess. The second sentence in her bio said, mom of 4. Unless you're applying to be a surrogate mom. She wasn't. Your experience with pushing humans out of your body is inconsequential to me. Not seen by me. But some relatives work in this place where they received a resume with a full-body bikini picture included. It was for an office job. I've been in that position with JobSeeker Man. There's only so many jobs I am qualified for that I can apply to. You end up applying for like electrical engineering jobs and shit just to meet the requirements. Thank you for your service by not banging other dudes while your husband was deployed. No joke. This morning on my way into work, I saw a USMC license plate with the personalized tag of Dependa on it. I swear it on my dearly departed father's grave. They should have put military spouse, USMC. It does make sense in a way, so you can explain job lags or even worse, job hopping in different states. That can come back to bite you later on when future employers ask why you move all the time. Sketchy. And can't hold down a job longer than 2 to 4 years. But it shouldn't be listed in the employment section. I would have put it in the cover letter or maybe even in the objective section.